Okay, everybody, look, thanks for meeting me. And that goes without saying that K-Mag and Logs never hear of this, but there's obviously a bit of a problem with them and our brake pedal, isn't there? Now, my concern with things is that Singapore is up next. There's a lot of things for them to go and hit in Singapore. So, I don't know, is there like a way we can make the car brake itself into corners or something? It's cheating. Well, only if we get caught, mate. Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome back to Kicking Haas. Today we have the Singapore Grand Prix, and this is a track we saw at Zandvoort. We were dominant, we really were. This is a track that could have a similar, I'm hoping anyway, have a similar sort of profile to it, and so we could get a similar sort of performance. Now we've had 3 weeks since the last race in Italy, where to be honest, a solid race. It really was. 5th and 6th in the end. We can see we are almost nailed on to get 3rd in the Constructors, which is massive in our 2nd season. Now, a little bit has happened in those 3 weeks. Let's start with facilities, because I've gone and spent 11.5 million to upgrade the design center. Now, the reason I've done this, you can see on the facility effects, it's going to mean that we can have 3 projects going at a time instead of just 2. So that's going to help us with, especially I'm thinking with car development, because what we can do is we can sort of have 2 major projects going and then 1 without the research time sort of going on in the background as well. So we constantly we can spend time upgrading things like maybe the chassis, or that we don't normally put much time into. We can sort of have that going in the background, but the main focus with wind tunnel time and whatnot being sort of the underfloor, front wing, rear wing, things like that. So I think that will help us develop the car, and then with the factory being upgraded as well, that'll mean that things will go quicker, and that we can also have more projects going at the same time as well. So I think that's going to work out very nicely for us. I certainly hope so anyway. Now, in terms of if we go back to everything else here, there's not too much to catch you up on. Obviously, we're not working on this year's car anymore, so there's nothing to report on there. You can see we've got research for the front wing and the underfloor for next year's car. That'll be done front wing at the end of this race weekend. Underfloor is a couple of weeks away yet. Now, in terms of the drivers, we do have some development points, not for Logan Sargeant, but K-Mag does have one, which we should put into braking, really, shouldn't we? But we'll put it into reactions. That is his lowest attribute right now. And our young Jack Crawford, who I saw in real life, is going up to F2 this year. So good luck to Jack on that one. I think we'll put both into accuracy. You want to try and get everything up to 65, and then we'll sort of go from there where we start. We'll continue to develop him for his future endeavors with the team. So that is that. Now, if we go to staff, we do have 2 staff attributes points. Our head of aero has an attribute point we can assign. The lowest thing we have there, we've got DRS, high speed downforce, low speed downforce. Let's go high speed downforce tends to be where we struggle a little bit, DRS delta as well, but we'll stick that on there for now. And the other one is our race engineer. Now, he is leaving at the end of the season in all likelihood, but we'll stick this on pit crew management for now. Try and get as quick as pit stop time as we can. So, but yeah, I do think we'll be leaving, or he'll be leaving end of this year, and we'll get somebody else in. Is certainly the plan right now. So that is everything caught up on. Let's go and have a look at the race. The street circuit, of course, that is Singapore. And let's have a look here at the circuit map. For qualifying purposes, red is sector 1, blue is sector 2, yellow is sector 3. Sections by speed. It's a street track, isn't it? It's a lot of low speed corners, traction zones, and a few straights thrown in there as well. Car attributes, low speed, medium speed, and we know that is where our car is strong. Pit time loss, 29 seconds, so it's a long pit loss. But if we get a safety car, it halves it, essentially. So that is definitely something worth keeping in mind. As a one-stop, do we do soft, hard, or do we potentially do hard and then soft at the end? Might be something to consider as well. Although we could do medium, soft. We'll have a look when we get there, see where we qualify. Compound performance, we can see there, it's a big drop-off, almost 1/10 of a second a lap on the soft tyre. But it's also a big, you can see there, a 42.0 compared to a 43.4. It's also a very big gap between the soft and the hard tyre, which again kind of makes me think maybe a soft tyre stop at the end might not be the worst thing. Now, last year Sargeant got I think it would have been his first points with the 9th, and yeah, if I remember correctly, K-Mag got rear-ended, didn't he, by somebody, I think, if I remember correctly, and he was running quite well at the time, so hopefully we don't have a repeat of that. Now, did we see the weather forecast here? Did we see a weather forecast anywhere? I don't A chance of rain, 0, so it's not going to rain. All right, so let's have a look here. Qualifying position. So we want 1 in the top 12. We should be able to reach Q3 here. I'm expecting us to be sort of second, third row of the grid, if I'm honest. Fastest lap, I'm willing to have a go for that. And finishing streak, both cars in the top 14. And if we get one car in the top 14 today, we'll have a nice $500,000 in the bank, which will be very, very nice indeed. So let's head off to Singapore and see what we can do. So there we go, confirmation. It is going to be a dry weekend. I'm going to go do free practice, get these cars set up nicely, and then I'll see you for qualifying. Okay, so we have done free practice, and, well, we've got old engine parts in, so we'll replace those. But if we have a look here, the concerning thing is Mercedes, who appear to be quite quick. So FP1, you can see there wasn't too much there for us. We were last and second last. Now, Sargeant did stick it in the wall, which isn't ideal. Yeah, so that is that. FP2, K-Mag came in the car, so to speak. He got 11th, which is good. You know, considering we've got old engine parts, then... yeah, you know, we should move up a little bit, I would imagine, hopefully a lot. Sargeant, though, really seems to be struggling. Even taking into account his old engine parts, he's over a second and a half off of K-Mag. And I think he has, like, newer parts than what K-Mag does. So, yeah, that's concerning. You can see here that FP3, first and third for the Mercedes. Now, Verstappen's taking penalties. That's it. Potentially a front row start for the Mercedes, which again is not great. K-Mag didn't get a good run in on a soft tyre, so that perhaps explains why he's there. But Sargeant again, last. So, yeah, Logan appears to be struggling a little bit. Now, K-Mag, we've got to go back to his highest setup, which is absolutely fine. I'll just have to make sure that keeps going. If we go and have a look at the car parts that are fitted, you can see K-Mag, we're just desperately trying to not have to take penalties with him at this point. The ERS, his ERS that was in the car is essentially shot, and his gearbox, he has sort of a race gearbox now and a free practice gearbox that can actually complete a lap. So that's what K-Mag looked like. Now, if we compare that to Sargeant, who was way, way off the pace, now, yes, his gearbox was almost shot. Now, I wonder if there's so many gear changes here that perhaps explains that. But yeah, not ideal. And if Sargeant doesn't pick things up, then I think what we will do is just take a gearbox penalty, for example, here with him, and just make sure he is going to get to the end of the season without any question. Now, I want to say I'm confident that we'll get out of Q1. I'm not so sure with Logan Sargeant, but if it becomes a problem, I'll come back for the second run. So yeah, we were absolutely fine. Worryingly though, it looks as though not just Mercedes, but potentially Alpine, McLaren, they may all have bought upgrades here, because K-Mag only 10th, Sargeant 12th. So yeah, I mean, the problem we have with being Haas is that we just don't have the facilities to be able to continually upgrade like the bigger teams do. And I just wonder if that's going to come back and hurt us here. But let's see how Q2 goes. Alright, so we are on board with Logan Sargeant coming around to start our run. Now, our first run, as always, is on used tyres. We're very close to this car in front, aren't we? I didn't manage to get them out the back. I wasn't sure how much time. In the end, I could have... We got across with plenty of time, so I could have maybe left it a little bit longer. But we see there, Sargeant is in 9th. He's got a couple of tenths to play with. Magnussen in 5th. But if you look at the Mercedes times, they are right up there with Red Bull around this track. So that is disappointing for us. It looks as though that they've definitely taken a step forward here and are significantly faster. There's a big crash in Sector 2 that might... Well, we'll have to wait and see here, because I'm not sure if we're going to see a crash. There's a car in front of us here that is going quite slowly, it looks like. We have done, at this point, 2 green sectors. Is anybody going faster? Sargeant goes, 6th. K-Mag had come across the line. He goes 5th. Sargeant down to 8th, 9th. But we are both through. Okay, so we are coming around for our second run in Q3. Now, I learned from my mistake in Q2. We are at the back of the pack this time, so as long as nobody crashes, we should be good to get the best track conditions. Now, Sargeant is currently 10th, K-Mag 6th. Now, like I say, we did do a run on used tyres. I wanted to make sure we had 2 fresh set of softs for the race. The reason for that is because there's been a lot of crashes, not just, and only one of them was us, to be fair, but in free practice, and we've seen already one in qualifying. So there's almost certainly going to be safety cars. I want to make sure we have fresh sets of soft if we want to, even if we say start on a soft, we have a fresh set ready to go then if we want to make a stop under a safety car towards the end of the race. Now, in terms of sectors, we've done a green and a yellow sector each, but nothing particularly good. Now, what I haven't done is got the sectors up here to see how we're doing. everywhere, almost the last two to cross the track finish line here. Not great lap from Sargeant. Magnussen stays 6th. So 6th and 10th. Now we can see here there are potentially a penalty anyway to Verstappen. There's a lot of penalties behind us, so it's not really, we're not going to benefit too much from any of that. So it'll likely be 5th for K-Mag, depending on what Verstappen's penalty is. If it's a gearbox, 5 places, then Logan Sargeant will be 10th. He might even move up to 9th. We'll see how that goes momentarily. But no, he does indeed stay 10th, so it must just be a gearbox penalty for Verstappen. Now, I'm wondering, given that Sargeant's almost certainly going to need another gearbox before the end of the season, particularly if he keeps crashing, and there's a lot of penalties behind us, I wonder if it's worth taking one. Because the chances are he won't actually drop down that much, you know. He will drop down a little bit, but I think we're going to have to take a penalty at some point. He doesn't appear to be particularly on the pace this race, and we might not lose out too badly, like I say, so we might do that. K-Mag, I'm going to try and get him to the end without any further penalties. But let's talk about the strategy here. 60-lap race, medium, soft to medium is doable, isn't it? Let's be honest, that's doable. Take the soft tyre as far as we can. Then we can stick a medium on. Now, I wonder with Sargeant, who is lacking a little bit of pace, if actually what we want to do here is switch that around and get a soft tyre on where everybody else is on mediums, and then it might be that we get a safety car, he can come in again and get a soft. So I think I like that for him. But I do think maybe with Kevin Magnussen, who is starting 5th, we probably want to do it this way, don't we? Do a soft first, and then put a medium on, and then with him, we can always go and put a soft tyre on towards the end if that's what we want to do. So I think I like that idea for the strategy. We'll just go and make sure that we are deploying early on to try and get as many places as we can before DRS opens up. DRS not quite as powerful here because there's only the front straight. Is there 2 or 3 DRS zones? I can't even remember now. There might be only 2. I'm not sure if the front straight is still one or not. But anyway, let's go do this race. Okay, welcome back. Now let's see where Sargeant did indeed drop down to. I don't like the Mercedes 1st and 3rd, it looks like, for them. Or was it 2nd and 4th? Sargeant has dropped down to 13th. So that's not the end of the world for Logan Sargeant. He dropped, what, 3 places, got a new gearbox. I think we just about take that. K-Mag up in 6th, make that 5th as he goes up the inside there of Alonso. What we really just need to try and do is keep these Mercedes as close to us as possible. They are clearly quick. This is going to be a damage limitation weekend for us, I think. So if we can do that, then that's absolutely brilliant. Now, Sargeant is the only car starting on a medium tyre. So we'll see how this works itself out, but it might be late in the race, if he's the only car on a soft, it might benefit him massively. Safety cars, though, could hurt or hinder his strategy, being obviously the guy doing something different. But if he can make up some early places, you know, the fact that he's on a medium tyre, he just needs to try and stay where he is, doesn't he, really? And of course, K-Mag on having that fresh soft tyre has got a little bit of extra tyre life to those around him, so that could be beneficial as well. He'll be able to push on just that little bit more than the cars in front of him at some point during the race. Whether we do that on a soft tyre or not, I guess time will tell. But it looks like we've got Hamilton in front of us. Are we going to look to stick a move on him? Now, we have seen before, let's not forget, the Mercedes can be quite quick in qualifying, and then we get a bit of a Hamilton train in the race. They don't always have the race pace, so let's hope that that's still the case as well. But they have definitely taken a big step forward. I don't think there's any arguments about that. They were, I mean, right up there in qualifying pace with the Red Bull, and no one's been anywhere near Red Bull so far this season. Maybe Leclerc every now and again in qualifying. Oh, here we go. Can we get a move done? We've got him out of position. Can he go up the inside? It's not really a good place for it, but we're definitely slowing him up. If we can get a good run out of here into turn 1, might be something that's doable. DRS is enabled. It's not going to help K-Mag just this very second. But we'll stay with this. Down the back straight, Hamilton is outside of a second of Leclerc as things stand, so K-Mag might be able to get a move done on Hamilton here. Let's see what he's got. Closing, closing, closing. Under brakes. You've got this, K-Mag. You've got this, mate. There he goes. Oh, wait, he's still there. But we shut the door in his face, and that is up to 4th now for K-Mag. Crucially, though, ahead of one of the Mercedes, and we've got Sargeant. Looks like he's behind the bit of a Bottas train. So we'll see what he can do moving forward here, but a 2-second gap behind him. So the way this race is developing, we've got a front three. We've then got Hamilton and Magnussen. Hamilton did get Magnussen back under DRS, and Magnussen is just kind of stuck behind him now, which is okay, to be honest. Verstappen is behind them, and then Sargeant in 12th is just running his own little race right now. He's at 2.5 seconds off the back of Gasly, and he's got a massive gap over Zoe behind, who obviously benefited from everybody else's penalties. And right now, in a Aston Martin even, who we know is slower, he's doing a very good job of holding back everybody behind us. So it's not looking too bad for Sargeant. It's not looking too bad for either car, given that Sargeant's going to be on a soft tyre later on. But it's not saying, it's just saying yellow flag, and we've got pit stops. So some of the early stoppers here are coming in. Now this is going to be soft tyre runners. Are they coming in looking for a safety car, I wonder? Norris has crashed. So no, it doesn't look like it is going to be a safety car. So that's fine. I'm not that bothered about it, but well, this is now where we can start and hopefully make some ground. Now, did Zoe come in? He did. So we're going 3rd and 8th now, but Leclerc has been released. Verstappen and Hamilton have dropped back. Magnussen's actually in front now with some other stops that have happened. So all the soft runners are in. Now, did they go to a hard? They must have. Yeah, they have gone to a hard tyre. Now, we saw at the start, the hard tyre is quite a bit slower than the soft tyre is. So we could make a little bit of ground here. We're now 1st and 3rd. Everybody's on a hard tyre. And I tell you who could make money at the end of this race is Sargeant, as we now go 1st and 2nd. Sargeant on a soft tyre, everybody else on a hard tyre, will be a 2.5 lap faster than a lot of cars on this track once he makes his stop. So this is going to be an interesting race as it plays out. Alright, so we have K-Mag coming into the pits. Now, we're expecting him to come out about 7th, which is Hamilton, which is roughly where we came in, of course. Sargeant has been caught and passed by Perez. He's still got a little bit of time to go before he comes in for his soft tyre. We've done a 2.9 second stop, and let's see as everybody goes past. So we've come out indeed in 7th, right behind Hamilton, where we left off, of course. But crucially, we've got a nice soft medium tyre, and he has got a worn, though still fairly good, but a worn hard tyre. So we've got an instant pace advantage. And if we go and have a look at Sargeant in 2nd, he's just lost the DRS to Perez, which would be a useful thing to try and hang on to. But again, he is not too badly placed. What we kind of need for him to do is try and come out not too far down the field, so he doesn't have too much overtaking to get done. But yeah, I mean, a safety car for Sargeant anytime soon would be a very, very nice thing indeed. We might even... I'm terrified of pushing him on too much and having him stick it in a wall, but it's kind of important for his race just now that he does put in some good lap times, because where he comes out is going to be very important. If we look at intervals to the leader, he's 2 seconds off, so he's looking like he's going to come out behind Gasly, which again is where he came in. He was behind Gasly to start with, but if he can get a little bit closer to him even without being in front of him, which I don't think he can do, then that could be very beneficial for him indeed. Okay, so we are bringing Sargeant in a lap earlier than the optimal lap. The reason for that is that Leclerc just got past him. I didn't want him to, he wasn't gaining any more time on the cars. He was doing a similar lap time to sort of the cars he's going to be racing against. A lap early will still be okay for the soft tyre. It was a good stop. It is 2.7, almost 2.8, but let's call it 2.7. He does indeed come out down there in 12th. He's got 7 seconds to make up. Let's go see exactly what he can do. Almost certainly a fastest lap should be in his future here. And if we look at K-Mag, the problem he has right now is he's in a DRS train behind Leclerc. This was the train that was previously the Logan Sargeant train. So, I mean, he did a good job, Logan Sargeant, of closing everybody up for K-Mag to catch. But he's just stuck in this DRS train right now. And that is making it difficult for K-Mag to use what is ultimately a pace advantage. You know what we might do is if we harvest and see if he can sort of stay with them with DRS, and then we might have a little bit of that to use later on. But yeah, like I say, don't go anywhere. We're 6th and 12th right now, but Sargeant should be flying. Purple sectors. He is going to be absolutely flying. And, well, we're in for a podium here with K-Mag. Oh, safety car, safety car, safety car. Now, K-Mag, unfortunately, no, we want to ignore this for now. Now, what has happened, first of all, is Sargeant okay? He is. Yeah, now, unfortunately, I was too busy working on Sargeant, trying to get him the fastest lap, which he does now have. And, Schumacher has crashed, so that doesn't really affect the race at all. Yeah, what happened with K-Mag is that everybody else, he just dropped off the back, must have lost DRS, and then we had Alonso go past. But, well, hang on a second here. If he comes in and puts on a soft tyre again, where's he going to come out into 12th? Let's wait and see till we get a little bit closer. I don't know if that's taking into account the safety car. I almost don't think it is. We'll get ready for a stop, and then we'll kind of see. But if we can get him on him being K-Mag onto a soft tyre as well, it's a 14-second gap back to Ocon. I think, was it 16 seconds, wasn't it? So in comes Magnussen for a soft tyre. And let's see where this does bring him out. Looks like McLaren's coming in with Ricciardo. And I wonder if he was involved in that crash, maybe. And there we go. We do drop down the order to 12th. So he's going to come out behind Sargeant. But we are going to have two Haas's on soft tyres with everybody else on hards. And we should have fully charged batteries as well. So this will be on once we go back racing. Okay, now safety car is ending. Now I've told Sargeant not to hold up K-Mag because K-Mag's tyre is that much fresher. He can just go. And hopefully Sargeant can follow him through. So why did he drop down to 14th? K-Mag, that was stupid, wasn't it, Sargeant? Maybe we should have done that in a better place. But anyway, that's not ideal. Hopefully he can get that, get those places back. But K-Mag here on a soft set of tyres that he can really push on should be quite entertaining here moving forward. But yeah, well, let's see. We'll go into overtake on both cars before DRS is activated. Try and make up as much positions as we can. If we look at everybody else's tyre life, you can see we should have a big tyre advantage here. I'm kind of annoyed that what I did there with Sargeant. Hopefully he can make his way back through. I imagine that what's going to happen is K-Mag's going to nick his fastest lap off him anyway because he can push the tyres that much more. As let's see though, let's see what happens here. We've got Magnussen getting back up to inside the points. He's overtaking Gasly. We've got Sainz next up here. We'll stay with this for a little bit. Can he get the overtake done down the inside? K-Mag. He's going to block. Come on, mate. You can do this. You can do this.
Haas with an overtake.
Sargeant has got himself back up to 12th now. Well, let me know. We can put leaving in the comments, but to yourself, where are we going to finish this race? There's still 20-odd laps to go. Plenty of time. There goes K-Mag cruising past. That was very easy, wasn't it? I'm going to say we can get someone on the podium. That's a bold statement, but that's what I think we can do. So K-Mag, driving like an absolute man possessed, is already back up behind Alonso, which is, of course, where he started the safety car period. We might put him back on harvest and just try and recharge the battery to have another go here. But better tyres, DRS as well. He is just cutting through this field like he's in a different category. It's going to be a little bit more difficult now, of course, without the battery to help him. And Sargeant's back up to 10th. He is currently working on the back of Bottas as well. Let's see if DRS can get us past Alonso. Doesn't look like it can just now. And, well, it looks like Sargeant had a good look at Bottas there, but just couldn't quite get himself past. You can see tyre life on both cars. We just have to be a little bit careful with K-Mag. He probably can't push like this all the way to the end. But it is looking very much like we are going to be, well, right up in these points come the end of the race. And that's, especially with Sargeant, given that he's taken a new gearbox as well. It's a very, very nice place to be. And K-Mag is now past Alonso. We had a little bit of battery power. We used it down the back straight with DRS. And it was as easy as you like to get back up into 6th now behind Hamilton. And we can see he is right behind Hamilton as well. We are burning through the little bit of extra petrol that we had, so we just need to be a little bit careful. You can see lap times. I mean, 41.3s, even with the cars in front having DRS sort of all the time. We're still comfortably faster. And we just cruised onto the back of this group as well. So this is the podium at the front of this train, and still only lap 47 of 61. K-Mag has plenty of time to get himself up on this podium. Sargeant in 9th, by the way. Working on the back of Bottas here. And in fact, let's stay on board because I fancy us to get a move done with DRS and a little bit of battery power down this back straight. Can he do it? We're out of battery, but it was just about enough to go down the outside of that Alfa Romeo. And Sargeant is up into 8th. Let's see if he can close down Alonso now.
Good.
Alright, so we seem to have an advantage down this back straight. Let's try it again. We get good traction with the soft tyre, but we just don't quite have enough, do we, to get past the Mercedes down there. And, well, we're sort of stuck in this same problem that we had earlier on now, where we are clearly faster than these cars, but stuck in a bit of a DRS train with nowhere to go is causing a bit of a problem for us. So, yeah, we'll try a bit of harvest, and then maybe, I think we might need to maybe even just do deploy and just try and, yeah. Maybe we need to make an overtaking maneuver in an unusual place rather than sort of a DRS thing, or just wear down that Mercedes battery if we have a full battery. But we're faster than all these cars here, and we're catching, looks like the leaders as well, because that's, I think I'm seeing the back of 2 cars in front. If K-Mag can get moves done, he can still win this race, you know, but I mean, it's a big if, isn't it? Let's maybe save some tyre life while we're here as well. Just a big attack at the end. Meanwhile, Logan Sargeant has closed down Alonso very, very quickly indeed. Let's see if he can get a move done. 12 laps to go. And, well, if he can get himself up into 7th, having taken a grid penalty, that would be very, very nice. Do we go a little bit of overtake here? Can we stick one down the inside, Logan? No. Now, of course, I've got to say that, I mean, the elephant in the room is no one's crashed yet, which is slightly concerning. As, let's go overtake now. Let's see if we can get this done. Almost. This should be it. This is where we've been good. Can he get the move done? He's a little ways back, isn't he? He does have DRS, though. You imagine, sooner rather than later, Sargeant is going to get himself past Alonso. He is a second and a bit a lap faster than him, second and a half a lap faster than him, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And Magnussen is, even though he's harvesting, still sticking onto the back of this group, which tells its own story, doesn't it? And you know what? While we're on board here, let's go on to overtake, and let's see if we can get a move done. Let's push this as well. Push the tyres. Come on. There it is. There it is. Up into 5th place now. Let's keep this going. Can K-Mag claim another win? It would be, well, a strategy masterpiece for myself. Let's call it what it is. But can we get a good run out of this and get the Ferrari now? Oh, K-Mag, here he comes. He's slicing through on his soft tyres. Go on, mate. It's still there for you. There it is. He's up into 4th now with the Red Bull in front. Let's go back to harvest. That's the lead. I mean, the lead is, what, 2 seconds away? 10 laps to go, 11 laps to go. This is very much a race that K-Mag can win. But we are all over the back of him. Can he get a move done? He's going to cruise straight past. The soft tyres are really starting to come into their own now, aren't they? And that should be job done. It is. And straight onto the back of Verstappen in front as well. Let's go back to our harvest mode here. And it's massively micromanaging, but I do think... Let's go overtake. Let's see if we can just come up to the back of Verstappen and cruise past him. Can we do it? Oh, we had him blocking. It might still be there. No. So now I think we do need to harvest for a lap or two, and plenty of time here, though, isn't there? There really is. There's still 8-9 laps to go here. Well, this could be it down this straight. This is where we've been effective. Can we get good traction with our soft tyres? DRS, ERS, all the S's. And here we go down the outside. It's a good move from Logan Sargeant. Out of position. A little bit of battery power, and that is him up into 6th. Sorry, it's up into 7th. And let's see if he can go and close down Hamilton now. Meanwhile, up front, we are still right in this race for the lead. We get a nice bunch of battery into turn 1. Let's get our overtake on now, and let's see if we can go and get a move done down this back straight. We're a little ways back, I think, aren't we? We are in a good position here. Let's see if we can get a move done on Perez. And then what we will have is a car without DRS in front of us. Getting the move on Perez done is going to be the hardest of them all, I think. I would imagine that, you know, if we get to second, getting to first is going to almost be the easy bit. It's overtaking a car that has DRS in front of us. Come on. And Perez has the medium tyre as well. All right, here we go. This might be... No, it's not quite there for us. It might be a case, too, of, you know, just wearing down their battery and then sort of... Then they'll become a little bit more of a sitting duck for us. But... And we've got... I mean, the other thing that could happen is if Russell pulls out of DRS range, that could be a good thing for us as well. Because then, obviously, the Perez would be a sitting duck. We shouldn't have any problem closing up on the back of Russell. But we've only got 2 laps to go. We really do need to get this done very, very quickly here. All right, let's, at the end of this this section here, we'll put it on to overtake. We've got to try and get this move done right now. Come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. There he goes. It is up into second for K-Mag with just a little bit of worry of fuel. It shouldn't be a problem. We'll just go back to conserve momentarily, and it shouldn't be an issue. We had a similar warning with Sargeant, and you can see he's absolutely fine. We'll just get it back to the positive. There we go. And, well, now we're going to go full push on the final lap and see if we can go and get George Russell. The gap is, it's over a second, isn't it? We need, I don't know, I don't think we're going to be able to do this, you know. I don't know that it's going to happen for us. We're into under a second, but we're running out of time. We're running out of space here. And, I mean, we're still using the overtake. This is our last chance. It's our last chance. I don't know if we've got it. Oh, we're right behind him. Come on, come on. He doesn't have DRS. He doesn't have DRS. Oh, we were that close. We were that close. And I don't know where we get a move done now, to be honest, even with the better tyres. But for K-Mag to come up into second on this track where it didn't look like we had the pace to do so, it's going to be second for Kevin Magnussen. Logan Sargeant coming around the final corner. He's going to be 7th, and he took a penalty, let's not forget. That is a good weekend for Haas. We've limited the damage to Mercedes there quite nicely. And let's not forget, we've beaten both Red Bulls there with K-Mag as well, which is excellent. So 19 points for him. Sargeant up 6 places to 7th is a really good drive. And of course, we didn't hit anything, which is almost the most shocking thing of anything there. So yeah, really, really pleased with that. That's been a good race for us. Drivers, we've got K-Mag still there in I tell you what, he's only 10 points behind Charles Leclerc. He could still get 3rd in this championship. Sargeant, unfortunately for him, has managed to drop down a spot to 10th, despite having quite a good weekend. George Russell, with the win, has moved himself up quite a few positions there. The constructors, like I say, we limited the damage there to Mercedes very nicely. They only gained, 8 points on us, despite winning the race. So I think that is an unmitigated success for us. That couldn't have gone too much better, given how fast and how much of a step forward Mercedes seemed to have taken there. So that is that. If you've enjoyed that race, and it was a stunner, I really did enjoy that myself, make sure you hit thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And the next race is Japan. A lot of high-speed corners. Yeah, we'll see how that goes for us. It could go either way, to be honest, but hopefully we'll be able to hold off Mercedes there as well. But until next time, I've been Aussie, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.